The Department of Homeland Security issuing a rare terrorism bulletin today, warning about a heightened threat environment across the United States, which DHS believes will persist in the weeks following the successful presidential inauguration. In simpler terms, our security concerns aren't over even with a peaceful transfer of power. Here now is NBC News investigations correspondent Tom Winter, just the guy we want to talk to about things like this. Tom, how often does the U.S. issue a nationwide alert like the one we just saw? And what specific terror threats are they concerned about here?
Well, Alison, it's pretty rare. I mean, this is not something that we've received from DHS over the past several years. Even towards the end of the Obama administration, we really didn't get these types of products, as we would refer to them in law enforcement and law enforcement reporting circles. It lays forward several ideas that, you and I have talked about before. This idea of, look, we have incredible racial tensions. We have tensions over political issues in this country. And it feels like for the first time we're being spoken to like an adult from the Department of Homeland Security, because we're actually getting real information and their real thoughts on things. Now, the information that's contained in today's bulletin is information that is expanded on and is distilled from law enforcement products that those of us that cover law enforcement, certainly people that work in law enforcement, have been reading and seeing for the past couple of years. But to your point, this is something that's unusual in that it was made public. It was made clear. Anybody can go online and find the document. We've written about it. So this is a little bit more transparency than we've gotten. It's also not a very political document. It just talks about things in a very dry, anti-political sense. So I think that's important, too, from a standpoint of credibility, Alison.
This bulletin issued by the acting Homeland Security Secretary because President Biden's nominee Alejandro Mayorkas has yet to be confirmed. If he is confirmed, what should Mayorkas be prepared to do to address these potential threats?
I think he should be prepared to put out more specific documents than this. I think it would be helpful for the Department of Homeland Security to put forward more detailed information about the type of, as they put it, DVEs, which is domestic violent extremists. These are the groups that are on the fringe from a political standpoint of society that want to destroy things, damage things. I mean, I think it's important, and it was smart today that this document discussed issues like threats to infrastructure, critical infrastructure. I mean, we saw the bombing of an AT&T building on Christmas Day this year. And while that's not tied to what we saw at the Capitol, and the motive on that is not going to be believed to be tied to any of those type of political beliefs or ideologies, we are going to see more of that. That potential does exist. And I think the society has grown in its belief of conspiracy theories. It's certainly the domestic terrorism threat has grown because there's a bigger audience for it, Alison. It's tough to convince a lot of people in the U.S. to believe in the ideologies behind ISIS traditionally, but a lot more people might believe in some of the ideologies that we saw on January 6th at the Capitol. So I think it's something that's going to be high on their list.
A question on the Capitol riots, Tom. The FBI says it's opened more than 400 investigations, but is still asking for tips on certain suspects. What's the latest on that?
Right. So over 400 investigations, people that they're seeking to perhaps put charges on, 150 people charged that's out part of that pool. So today the FBI put out this poster, which essentially is a group of 10 individuals that they say they believe are responsible for the assaulting of a federal police or federal law enforcement, I should say. And of course, included in that is the Capitol Police, Alice. And so they really want to find out who these people are. They want people to call 1-800-FBI-TIPS. They want them to go to the website, FBI.gov/US Capitol. Capital with an O, and want people to provide some tips and information so they can find these individuals. I think it's safe to assume, Allison, that at least a handful of these people, if not all of them, might be charged in the death or assault of Capitol Police officers.
Tom, you also have some new reporting today that the leader of the far-right extremist group, the Proud Boys, went undercover and cooperated with the FBI back in 2013 to help with a series of drug and illegal gambling investigations. What went down there?
Yeah, we're talking about Enrique Tarrio. This was somebody who was taken into custody 2 days before the Capitol riot and attack. It was taken into custody in Washington, D.C., and also had some high-capacity guns on his person. So somebody that was caught by the authorities there. That was, according to the reporting of my colleague, Pete Williams, information that came from the FBI. But back in the case that first hit the dockets in 2012, an arrest in 2013, Enrique Tarrio, that leader of the Proud Boys, was caught up in something totally unrelated to any sort of domestic extremism or violence, was involved in a scheme to take what was stolen tests for diabetes, market them and sell them well below the market rate in South Florida. Basically, in the course of that investigation and several others, he cooperated with the FBI. And then according to a court transcript, when they sought to reduce his sentence for that cooperation, apparently also worked as an undercover with City of Miami police officers and in law enforcement investigations there, including allegations of illegal gambling and marijuana grow houses. So he's been somebody who's been on law enforcement's radar for a long time, but apparently is quite the cooperator and an informant.
Yeah, sure sounds like it. Tom Winter, always great to have you on. Thank you so very much.
Sure. Thank you.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.